Sometimes faces come together really easy, and sometimes they need a lot of like work and time. Especially when they're kind of from your subconscious. When they're just kind of like floating around in your brain, it takes a bit for them to come to life. This guy I think came together pretty easy. This guy's Belial from Basket Case. So he has a reference. Whereas the other two kind of creatures are locked somewhere deep inside me. You like the hosing? Yeah, he's like radioactive time traveler. And the time traveler story is like the idea is that when you first start time traveling, everything is working and everything works and it's successful and you complete your mission. But as time goes on, time travel becomes a little bit more and more harmful to your body, and it's like your DNA starts to shift and you start to morph, and the universe is oh shit, collide, and things start to get squirrely, and the missions become confusing, and where you've been and where you're going gets confusing, and you need different tools and beliefs in order to keep the time travel going and being able to continue to. That's where this head that I'm painting right now, let me move that camera for you. This head is like some sort of spiritual guide, almost like a shaman would carry some, like a shrunken head. But in order for time travel to work, you need the powers of this kind of like wizard head, this silver wizard head. Because if you don't have the silver wizard head, how are you going to time travel? It's obvious, right? But I really just believe that, imagine like time traveling was a thing. And I just think the more that you do it, the more things get absurd, the more not just problems, but the things break down and are never the same again, right? Kind of like once you change things, you can't undo them, no matter how hard you try. And when you do start trying to correct mistakes you've made when you're time traveling, then things just start to get really out of hand. So he's going into like another dimension. But at this point, not all hope is lost, because he's still able to do it. And he's kind of adapted and learned that, like, he learned how to cope and manage. But at this point, he's just like this ghostly figure. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out time travel, actually. I'm trying to imagine what it really takes, and I just don't think it's what we're led to believe so far. You know, like Back to the Future, it's a good start. I'm not shaming it or bashing it, but I just think, like, if you take the Doc from Back to the Future and you give him like 100 years of soaring through different time frames and universes and alternate realities, in order to keep yourself going, like, things start to get really squirrely. So it's this combination of like spirituality and cosmic ridiculousness, that everything that you thought was just foolish and tomfoolery is actually what's required in order to have a successful, like, to keep yourself going. And everything starts getting jumbled, and all the realities start getting confused. That's kind of the main point. All the realities start getting confused. That's how he, like in this particular mission, he ends up in the Simpsons alternate universe, where it's like kind of the Simpsons, not really. He's had to rely on like fictitious characters in order to glide through the worlds and the timelines. Tomfoolery is required, yes. When you get to this stage, this is like the final run. I'll finish this piece today and post like a short video of it. This one took like 4 days. A nice pace, not like rapid pace, so not aggressive, but 4 days. And but this stage, I want to really watch my pace, and I really want to watch. For sure, you don't want to make more work for yourself. Like, I'm not in the mindset of like, oh, it needs this, it needs this. I kind of actually am thinking like that, but just on such a like a minor scale. Okay, it needs a little highlight here. It needs, like, I'm even clean your brush before you apply the paint. Like, very, I want to do strokes like I'm doing now. So I got to remind myself the entire time. You got to remind yourself that you don't want to overdo it, and you just want to finalize things. You're just like, okay, finalize this. Like, what the hell is this right here? I don't know. I have no idea what this is here. So you want to finalize that. Okay, does he have like little, too much, but I kind of like it. Oh, maybe we're going to go for some teeth. They're too bright, but they stand out, so it's okay. We're talking like pinpoint, pinprick brush strokes in some areas. Some areas, no. Go a little harder. And I won't work the entire painting like that, but I just want to, like, again, I think the best way is what I just said, just like finalize things. But for me, I can get kind of, I gotta just watch where my brain's at, because I can get too excited, or I forget kind of what my motive is or my objective is, and then I start kind of like moving things around, where, so hey, now we're not finalizing, we're just adding things that require more work. And then I don't want to do that. I just really like this concept. I'm happy with it. It gave me a bunch of ideas. So one of the greatest things, that when you're painting, even if you're good or you're terrible, it doesn't really matter, because you get more ideas, especially when you create like surrealistic nonsense. It'll generate like, oh, what happens if I did this? Because I told you guys yesterday, how was Freddy got fingered? Yeah, this is it. This, I want to paint something here. Like, you see this boat, the standard Simpsons painting. I want to like isolate that in a new painting. And that, like, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that's going to be the greatest painting of all time or anything like that, but it's just an idea that came from this painting. I don't know what happened here. I touch the canvas a lot, like the panel, so I leave marks wherever I go. It gives me a bit of a headache. That's just how I paint. Anyways, I think isolating this boat and then putting somebody in the boat, or some sort of figure, or some sort of I just think isolating the boat painting would be a fun idea, and I'm sure it would be satisfying to play with that idea and see where that goes. And that's just one of, a number of ideas that I got while painting this. I'm really glad I finally painted Belial. You guys, no one has piped up about that, but there's like these genre of horror movies from the 80s and 90s that were just so absurd. And Belial's from that world, and he's worth investigating, and his story should live on. Like, it's just an absurd horror movie that the making of it, the guy that made, like, his story of how he made it is fun. The terrible, like, kind of like they become like cult classics. But the fact that someone like had a budget and put it together, and then I think there was at least three of them, like three basket cases, and they all became like more and more absurd and like stupid and silly. But there's something about that whole idea that will stay with you. And so like I would see like these movie VHS movie cases when I was a kid, and the artwork from those movie cases and like basket case, whether it was like graphic design or actual painted, hand painted movie covers, were just so awesome. I would just walk down the aisles of like, you know, your local, not even a Blockbuster, but your local video store and see all these horror titles and the artwork that went along with them, and they look so crazy. And sometimes you'd actually get a chance to sit down with it, and it was just brutal. Like sometimes you get lucky and hit like a masterpiece, or even if it was like a cult movie or like a low budget horror, sometimes they turn out to be really great. But just the concept of this guy was attached to his brother, like on the side of his belly or something. And oh shit, I keep hitting that. Sorry, let me try to fix that. And he was also like a mass murderer. Like he would get really angry. Anyways, you guys should look up Basket Case. That's it. I'm done talking about it. It's not even worth watching the entire thing, but it's worth knowing about. That's kind of a lot of like my a lot of my concepts come from are generated from things that are like kind of half good, but stick with you for like a lifetime. Like what horror movies are like just so bad that they just stick with you for a lifetime, or and then as you get older sometimes they come back to life. Let me see here. Reanimator, yeah, Reanimator was better than Basket Case. It had way more going for it. There's two Reanimators, right? But it even had the story, because I think it like Reanimator is like H.P. Lovecraft, so it actually had like some real power behind it, and it was absurd, but like they probably had good writers. With Basket Case, it was like a guy in a dream and walking down New York City, and like no permits and no studio. And I think it took him like, I don't know, for the sake of the conversation, like 10 years to make it. Like some, like, you know, so Reanimator will live on for Reanimator is like done well. I don't, but still like a B-rate horror in a sense too. So I put them like in the same category, but just Reanimator's a better movie. You can kind of like actually watch it and kind of go, okay, this is fun. Basket Case is like almost unwatchable, but it got made. I'm fascinated, like, you know, hey, like, and then I think they would play it. From what I know, I'm not an expert on this, but they would play it at like midnight movie in New York, which I was not a part of. I was a kid at that time, but they would play it at like midnight movie screenings, and it would gain like this following. And there was a lot of movies like that would just. I love when I just discover new ones too. I watched something recently. There's I'm a huge, and admittedly like more recent, like within the last decade, all the giallo, like 1970s, 1980s giallo movies. I like am a huge fan, because just the art in every shot. If you took, yeah, Brain Dead was great. See, like Brain Dead was like almost another category, because that was Peter Jackson. Oh no, I'm thinking Dead Alive. What do you, Brain Dead? I don't know if we're talking about the same thing because I think it had like two titles. If you're not talking about Dead Alive, then I'm not sure. Brain Dead, I'd have to look that up. I think I might be confused on that one. Brain Dead. It rings a bell now that I think about it a little more, but I can't picture it yet. You want to be really careful about when things are really close to being finished, if not finished. Like this guy doesn't really need any more work as far as I'm concerned. I'm happy with him. We'll put a little bit of work into here. But anyways, back to the Giallo films. I love learning about them. I love the breakdowns on them, the raw grittiness of that era. I'm all about it. And there's so many, and some, like I said, some of them are true masterpieces, and some of them are just sleazy nonsense, and they don't hold my attention for very long. But a lot of them have this beautiful, I don't know if you call it like cinematography, but you could like pause the video at any point in the film and it's like a painting. That's kind of how I look at them. So not even so much the content and the storyline, and for sure not the acting, but if you take any movie and you pause it, like I was watching, I think Blood and Black Lace. I can't remember the storyline. I don't remember even who's in it, but I remember being like, it was riveting as far as like the layout and the design and the every shot. I was pausing it and be like, this is a painting. This is a painting. And I really mean that, the lighting and then the atmosphere and then the like the way that they're posed. I can't remember at all what happened in that movie. I remember it was all right. I think like it wasn't bad, like bad. But I remember like, oh my, like I remember enough to remember the title of the movie, and then because the scenes were just, I won't say breathtaking. I'll calm down a little bit, but they were awesome, really like inspiring, and like and I would save some of the screenshots. So I think movies are like, sometimes they really are like moving pictures when you think about them like in that way, like moving, like there's a bunch of movies that do that, you know, thousands rather, but I kind of get that even from Basket Case. There's scenes in the actual movie that just isolated on their own are worth investigating because of the absurdity and the creativity. It's very creative. That's why it's like worth mentioning and going in. It's just very creative. It could have been done by like a teenager, but it wasn't. But it has that kind of mentality. But if you just isolate some of the frames in the movie, yeah, I'm aware of possession. And it's pretty, that's like a more heavy vibe that always ends up on the list of like horrifying movies or like, shocking scenes. But again, that I would say how that applies to what I do like the way that it's shot, and I do like the way that it's yeah, that aesthetic. That's what I think about. Like I'm even in that hallway and or is it the subway or in the tunnel or whatever. I do like that aesthetic a lot. But I'm always trying to pull inspiration. And as you can tell from my work, like absurdity is really where my head just naturally goes to things that are just absurd, silly, comical, ironic. So when you take some like a subject matter like possession, it's way more. It's fine. Like I'll get inspired from some of it for sure. Typically, you won't see like you'll see some things in my art that are pretty dark, and that's nothing new. Or you'll see things that are pretty demented and disturbing, and I try to balance it. If I paint something that's really, I had a couple earlier this year and late last year that were pretty rough and like aggressive. So I try to balance that with the next painting being a lighter subject matter, not just for anyone looking at it, but for myself. I like to kind of switch it up, like make myself go, okay, no, pick something now silly or lighter or standard, like more generic even. And believe it or not, when you're painting something generic or like basic or even pretty or cute on purpose, that still will generate ideas. So it's never a wash or it's never a waste of time. But I don't wake up excited to paint something that is kind of basic or I get out of bed when I paint something like this, where you use your imagination and you use your creativity to make something not only fresh and new, but just insane. There's something about painting insanity. Or things that don't make sense. Remember, you're just finalizing things. You're not kind of the building stage is over. This is putting the details on so that I can. Oh, I don't think you'll be able to see this for a moment here. But I gotta put my signature on here. Might be off camera a little bit, I'm not sure. East Berlin. That sounds like a new grim pop. I like that. But East Berlin, I don't know at all. I don't know that one at all. I don't believe. But I'll definitely like look into it because I always get inspired by that stuff. Like it's immediate. I think art always creates more art, like good, especially when you would classify it as good. So maybe not even a good movie, but good art always makes more art. And not even good, but just makes like art inspires more art. I hate this hand. I don't know what's going on. I think this needs to be worked. There's a few things in the piece that aren't working for me. That hand is one of them. Oh, East Berlin. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Right. That aesthetic's great. It's like rainy and dark. Like this is me talking out loud, but like I'm not when it comes to actual like movie experts, I'm not I just really take away the parts I like and run with them. I have a good like videography, like I have a good database and I have like a lot of the Coles notes of movies. So I can tell you about the aesthetic of Possession, but it's my in-depth knowledge of the plot and stuff, no. Like when I listen to Tarantino being able to like recite the plots of movies from the 80s, it's like, yeah, no, I don't have that. But I do have the takeaway of like, but I do remember certain scenes that will stick with me and certain ideas that it generates. It's really about idea generation for me. Where does it lead me? What does it make me think about? And often it's not like kind of maybe for me anyway, it's not the standard. Oh, it makes you think about this and question these things. No, it's kind of like usually like a side, like a tangent, like a side note that I run with that makes me excited. Like the bricks or the wall behind that lady when she's freaking out in the tunnel, like in the ground that she was rolling on. Everyone else will talk about her performance and how convincing she is and how it traumatized her, and I don't really care about any of that. It just doesn't. But the ground, I have memory, and the back, the wall. Like, doesn't she splash something on the wall? And that splash is like a piece of art. So back to this hand because this hand is wrong. Hand is wrong. This rib cage is not wrong. It's just not done. Maybe this hand is holding something, I'm not sure. Oh, that's fine. This will be the last kind of thing that I need to really correct. You just keep working it. You add and subtract. I might even have to look up a hand reference because this is, I don't even know what's happening. I thought it was going to be like maybe like a Mickey Mouse hand. Then I added some stripes, and the stripes are a no. Let's bring down and the hand's not facing the right way. Or maybe it is. Yeah, it is. Weird, I don't know. But adding and subtracting. So right now we're adding. Also kind of subtracting at the same time, getting rid of these lines. The thumb's maybe too small. I'm just doing this to see if I see anything, if I can make something work. Well, it's better than it was, so that's a start. Those lines did not work. Maybe holding something. Holding what? No one? TV remote? Yeah, you're ahead of me. Okay, fine. I'll do a TV remote. Kind of like a tool for time traveling. You got it. We'll just free ball it. I think it doesn't require a lot, but we'll give it probably a glow too, right? I guess. I don't know, let's see what happens. So you don't go super dark, you go kind of dark middle. There is some shadow here. Then you got the remote kind of down here, because it's kind of like that. No one, great call. Make it very illustration looking, especially in the beginning, meaning like kind of exactly what it is before trying to make it look realistic or even painterly. Just get for sure the shape in there. But when I say illustration, like just like you learn from like comic books, just like, hey, it has to look like a remote before anything else. Because sometimes when you look at either masterful paintings or photos, for that matter, you don't always even know what things are because they're just realistic. But with a painting that's like kind of surreal, you need to be obvious sometimes. Otherwise, it just, like if you look at a Robert Williams painting, all his stuff is like very obvious. Obviously, this is a remote. Obviously, that's a TV. Obviously, it's this. And then he plays with them. And then probably we won't be able to do the buttons accurately, because with the oils, this will just be wet for a couple hours before it's like kind of tacky. And then you can come back on it and then hit it with the buttons and maybe the reflective glow, which I think makes sense, right? But you killed it with this simple yet perfect suggestion. The remote, of course. It's also like his tool to time travel, right? It's like everything. Hope you're still there, because thank you. Appreciate it. Well, that's a bonus of streaming. I fucking hate it, but maybe we'll map out the buttons. But not like a bunch of, again, make spoon feed it, make it obvious. You know, some remotes have like these small buttons that I don't want to paint that. Make it like clear as day what's going on. So we kind of mapped out the buttons. That's good. And then we'll do like a red little thing on the front of it. And then if I leave this for a little while, then I'll be able to put a green glow on it. You like it, no one? Yeah. Just press the button, then drop. Looks like yeah, right. He's going us somewhere new. Great call. Because you're right, like he needed something there because otherwise the hand really didn't make sense. It was giving me a headache. There's like a window in the painting where you have things that don't make sense, but you allot for that window where it's like you anticipate things to come together. And then when the majority of the painting is working, and then you have some areas that just, what is happening here? What is going on? Over time, it starts to get discouraging because you're not sure what to, how to complete it or how to finish like certain elements. So you'll either take them out, like straight up, you'll just remove them, or you'll have a friend that gives you a good suggestion, or you watch an old horror movie and come up with an idea to finish the piece. I don't know if you can see this on the, I don't know how it looks. But this carpet needs to be worked, which is not a very exciting thing to watch, I'm sure. It just needs to be hit. With other paintings that I'm trying to complete at a faster pace, I would paint this differently so that I wouldn't need to do this. Well, with this painting, it's actually like taking me significantly longer than other paintings like this in the past, because I kind of isolate him and then leave everything else very cartoonish. But because for whatever reason, I decided to paint this kind of like semi-realistically instead of leaving it as like the cartoon couch. I think actually both work. I think sometimes leaving the things cartoonish, like leaving them as they normally are, or as we understand them to be, is very valuable too. So it's kind of just how you're feeling. I think most of my other pieces are all, I just leave the Simpsons background like how we understand it, like very close to the original. There's one I did where I made everything really almost like a drug den or something. That was cool. Or neglected is a better way to say it. Let's do something here. You see how I get distracted? I'm in the middle of painting the carpet, and so that's why I talk out loud to myself, so it kind of works for the stream. But like, hey, finish what you're doing. Like, I don't know why I jumped over there. I really don't. I think a lot of the time that actually works for me because I work all the way around the painting. And I think that's a really good thing. I think that's a valuable asset, but it can also be a bit of a liability. Like, can you please just finish the carpet? Please? As an overall problem, it's not really like I wouldn't even rate, like it's not a problem. It's just I need to always kind of be in touch with my brain to guide it, like, hey, you're not changing anything, you're just putting on final touches, you're just solidifying things, you're just finalizing things. That's it. Reminder, reminder. It sounds like I'm talking to you, like to help you with your painting. I hope so, but that's not like I'm telling them, hey, finish the carpet, don't move around. From Italy, what's up? Simpsons couches, modern mythology. Yeah. Meow laser, what's cooking? Beetlegoose. Oh wow. Beetlegoose, it's been a long time. Nice to see you from Italy. Hickorus. Icarus or Hickorus? What time is it in Italy? I'm guessing it's late in Italy. Is it like really late in Italy? Like morning late? Or is it night, like midnight? Finish the carpet. Finish the carpet. It's nice to move around when you get bored. Yeah. But sometimes it's not even about being bored. I just forget what I'm doing. If I had to, okay, let me think. I think it's actually habit. If I had to be brutally honest, it's not my silly brain. I think it's just I do move. I've always moved around. I don't know. I don't think I have a good answer for that. I think every time I would talk about it, I'll come up with a different explanation of why I move around. Getting bored, the painting needs it, it's habit, I'm squirrely. It just is what it is, kind of thing. But I do need to like try to focus myself a lot. I do know that's true. That won't change. Like I need to like, hey, finish the carpet. Like there is an element maybe to a forgetfulness because I'll mix a color for something, like mix a color, like use paint, mix it, and then forget to even paint the thing I mixed the color for. That happens like once or twice a painting. And that's just because I lose focus what I was doing. And I won't get dramatic and call it like ADHD or anything, but I just need to remind myself what I'm doing. But but again, I'll just say this too, is that hopefully as I'm telling myself, you'll be able to get something from that, from my own personal dialogue. This a weird old man talking to himself on YouTube about a time traveling ghoul who, you know what? I don't think he's lost all hope. There's some joy because he does have the will to live. So he's not in purgatory. He's collecting stories for sure. He doesn't have a lot of people to tell those stories to, but that's not really the point. He just has this collection of stories as he travels around, and I don't even know if he's on missions. He just has the ability to time travel. And it's warped him so much. You can't feel sorry for him, though. Please don't feel sorry for him. He knows what he's doing. He has it kind of understood. He's not looking for sympathy. He doesn't care at all about your sympathy. He's this collection of like memories and matter. Memories and matter floating through parallel universes and timelines, mixing things up. Sometimes he's invested, so he's trying to fix things, but by fixing things, he slowly falls apart and mutates. I missed that word earlier when I was describing. He's mutated because of all the time traveling. He's this mutated ghoul full of memories and matter. You can't even say he has he has a heart and a soul and things like that. Not anymore. We're way beyond soul and heart. He's just a collection of memories and matter. But I suppose wouldn't even call it humanity, but there's missions. Like he does have some rhyme and reason, but I think it's kind of incomprehensible. We don't know why he's doing things and where he's going, but he's enjoying himself. Look, there is some human emotion. He's happy to be he's happy. He's good. He doesn't need anything from you. He's not knocking on your door asking for anything. He's doing what he wants. And he's got a sidekick, and he's got a spiritual advisor, and he's got his organs flapping around. But he's got his remote, thanks to no one. So he can control his destiny. See, there's so much more now happening. Remember Click? Does anyone else think that Click was not underrated? I think it's a standard Sandler film, but I remember it was emotional. As far as I remember, I was wow. On such a primate, a primal, you'll regret it if you do that. I don't want to talk about Click anymore. That's it. It's enough Click. Okay, Icarus, pleasure. Thanks for reaching out. He's like a wacky Cenobite. Yeah. See, again. That was more of a production than the B-rate horrors. But Cenobites and the stories behind that. I was rapping about Clive Barker, I think yesterday, and the impact that had on my childhood. Good Lord. The Cenobites raised me. But again, it's like I just have this weird thing. I'm like, it's not the entire, like, I'm not captivated by its entirety. It's like pieces that stay with me. I was looking up, like, I'll look up, I never saw it, but like, I know the new Hellraiser was like a lady. So then I'll look up images of her costume and her makeup and her character. That stuff interests me. Will I sit down and watch the new? No. Will I watch like a recap version if I get a chance? Probably. I consume so much shit nowadays that's all like condensed and like the TikTok versions of things. But my excuse is I would not watch it any other way. So I either watch the TikTok condensed version or I don't watch it at all. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that it's just the way it is for so many things. Because like, I'd rather be painting and I can't sit down and watch a movie, so that's why I listen to podcasts or music. But when I'm eating or if I'm waiting for something, I'll be on my phone, or like if I'm eating, I'll watch my computer and I'll watch like a breakdown of something, or like what do they call them? Not just movie recaps, but like just the summaries of stuff. And if I didn't watch that summary, I would not be watching it. Now, mind you, sometimes what happens is I watch those TikTok summary things and they recommend something if it's actually a real person and not AI. I watched a recommendation from a person on TikTok this week. I literally stopped their review or whatever they were doing and went to online and watched the documentary because of the way that they presented it. So it's not that I'm totally against it, but like, I'm not going to watch the new Hellraiser, but I'll watch a recap of it. But the recaps used to be really good because on YouTube they'd at least show you like like the good parts. Now they can't. All the people like got totally butchered because of I guess they call it like age restrictions and stuff. All the channels that used to like give you the glorified horror, they all had to like, they all got burnt. They can't do it anymore. Doom scrolling the time continuum. That he is. Doom scrolling the time continuum. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to do anything here. I thought maybe I might, but no. It's just like blank. I love that, by the way. Monsterisms. Yeah, like he's been to everywhere and back 100 times. That's very Rick and Morty. What do they call that channel that they watch? The Rick and Morty channel. or how do they frame that? That's really smart. That's really funny. He's like he's like looking through the Rick's oh, I don't even know how to begin to explain that. The Universal channel that they watch. Ugh. Why did that show like fall out? I know that they got new actors. I don't know if I watched the seasons yet with the new actors. But why did they kind of like all of a sudden people just fell out of love? Is it just because of the new season or the new actors that they got? Or was there like why do people like not give it the flowers anymore? I'm not up to date on that. Same with I feel like I'm older, but Family Guy, no one gives Family Guy flowers anymore. I don't know why. We just stopped like. Well, my friends, I think that's it for today. As in my stream, I'll continue to paint after I leave you. But I gave you an hour. I gave you an hour of my presence and my nonsense. And I appreciate your time too and your insights. I hate and love doing this. It's very distracting for me, but I think it's something I need to kind of come to terms with. I'm trying to monetize my YouTube. And so I just like I have like a lot of different things that I've been trying, and it's like, okay, I think you just got to get back to your streaming and figure that out. Because sometimes you have like good months with art and you have slow months. And if I'm making some extra change on YouTube, I think it's just good. I want like more options. Like it's like an artist that sells prints and t-shirts and stickers and original art, and try to get monetized on YouTube. Until next time, cheers, everybody.